the open network for digital commerce, which provides digital enablement capabilities to vendors, businesses, big and small. So the last episode was around the Channapatna toy cluster, in which we talked about the benefits and challenges of onboarding on such a platform. This time we are talking about a comparison between Bangalore vendors and Delhi vendors, and we have with us Ashwini and Jayraj. I am Anuradha, a PhD student from my third year entrepreneurship area. So Ashwini and Jayraj have specifically worked in the street vendors Bangalore cluster, and they have also gone to Delhi to do a comparative study. So Ashwini, can you just start and tell us about what were the key takeaways and what did your project aim to achieve?
So our project is basically on understanding onboarding friction points that street vendors might have on onboarding on ONDC platform. So we started with understanding the onboarding process that was already conducted in Delhi and how the street vendors are onboarded on ONDC platform. Then we compare it with Bangalore. We understood what are the regional differences that Bangalore might have or regional concerns that street vendors might have. And based on that, we found out some friction points that specifically Bangalore street vendors will have. And based on our knowledge, we recommended solution for that.
So can you tell us a bit more about the key challenges faced by the Delhi vendors when you were conducting this study, Jayraj?
Sure. So the key challenges which we found out that Delhi vendors were facing are the first and foremost was trust on e-commerce platforms. Mostly the street vendors work on very less salary and they are not very much dependent on e-commerce and not completely trusted. This arises basically because of three major things. It's because of lack of orders on e-commerce platform, high commissions majorly due to other e-commerce the e-commerce sites, and other penalties if the order is not fulfilled or any other challenges came up. The second major challenge was compliance with GST. So the small street vendors are not very much involved with GST compliance, so they try to avoid that thing. Apart from that, the payment cycle on ONDC was around 2 to 3 days, which is actually very tough for street vendors because they actually work on in-hand cash and they want a regular cycle, a regular cash flow. So these were the major challenges which we found out in Delhi vendors.
So was there any certification issue also which you found out by FSSAI?
Yeah, sure. So apart from including all other street vendors which are like food delivery one, the FSSAI certification was mandatory, and we found out that in Delhi many of the street vendors do not have that certification. So yeah, ONDC did provide some help on that, but yeah, that was one of the key challenges.
Okay, some mentorship and some help was provided by ONDC. Okay, so Ashwini, how did these insights from the Delhi study shape your questions or your way forward for the Bangalore study?
So onboarding process of street vendors in Delhi, we understood general concerns. We got clear idea what can be the general concerns those street vendors might have in Delhi. We already know the Bangalore marketplace. So we mainly focus on what can be regional concerns that Bangalore street vendors have that might Delhi street vendors not have. So in summary, our insights from Delhi helps us to refine our questions for interview. And based on those questions, we deep dive into our interview with Bangalore street vendors to understand more about their regional concerns of onboarding on ONDC.
Okay, so you might have found out many insights like what is the difference between like in payment systems and unique challenges that you could implement from the Delhi study in the Bangalore study. Okay, so what exactly unique challenges did Bangalore cluster face? Like what were these vendors struggling with and what could you come up with?
So the first and foremost challenge which we we saw was that the awareness of ONDC platform. Actually, the street vendors were not aware about this ONDC platform, that it is initiated by government of India. So they actually were thinking that it's a normal e-commerce platform like others. So there was a bit trust issue, and the perspective was different towards ONDC. The second different challenge was about the business data leakage. The street vendors in Bangalore were more concerned about their business or the product that they are selling. They are more concerned about the competition which this platform will bring, and that it can cause the loss of their competitive edge. So that was a major, the perspective that street vendors in Bangalore were facing, which we didn't saw in Delhi, about the completely business perspective. Another was about risk of price war. They knew if they show their products on that platform, the other street vendors or other vendors will also come through, and the price war will start, and that they can lose the profit which they are earning at this point of time. Another issue which we saw here, that the street vendor, mainly about the food vendors which we saw, they are not permanent. They don't have any permanent location. So mostly they will be roaming around the cities, or if they have one particular corner, that also can be replaced due to some or the other circumstance. For example, if there is any event, so they will be shifting to the new event position, for better sale. So these are the major challenges that cannot be covered if they are onboarded on ONDC. Like, the location will be very skeptical for them.
Okay, so digitalization might help them a lot, given these problems which exist in the physical world, but maybe they might be taken care of in the digital world.
Yes.
Okay, so Ashwini, how do these vendors view ONDC as an open network, like their idea of open network, versus other closed networks and digital platforms which are already there? Because they are there, and Bangalore is like a special place which has everything online. So what are the perspectives there?
So these street vendors saw ONDC as more trustworthy compared to other platforms. A main reason is because it is government backed. Second is it don't have any unfair practices or high commission fees. And third, the rapid payment cycle. Because of that, they trust more on it compared to other private platforms. But they are hesitant about ONDC because the concept is very new to them, and also none of their peer is using ONDC right now. So that creates some hesitation for them to try such a new platform or being a first mover for such a new network.
Okay, okay. So this hesitation, follow-up question is obviously about digital literacy. So given the hesitation and given the basic knowledge which currently is there, so what is your take on the digital literacy of the vendors already there in Bangalore, and how did it impact their onboarding process on ONDC? Did it make any kind of difference?
So we actually saw very different types of street vendors. Some of them were very familiar with smartphones and digital platforms, but some of them were not. So the first concern was about the familiarity towards the digital platform. They have limited knowledge how to operate that. For example, they do know how to operate the UPI, but they do not know how to navigate through the app. So that was one. So to handle this kind of challenges, they do have some of the other helpers or the small kids, those who can operate that the particular app. But this does create the dependency for them. They cannot be always available, or some other challenges could come in between. Apart from that, there is struggle of using the digital interface. Maybe they can use the app, but they cannot use the complete phone, how to check their balances or how to navigate through the order, complete the particular the stage of the product delivery. So these kind of challenges were coming. So to solve these things, they have to learn all these digital, they need to increase their digital literacy, and this does create a huge challenge of steep learning curve for them. ONDC can, it does create a big challenge for them because of these digital challenges. But yes, there are some of the suggestions which we came up to solve this kind of by mostly training and learning practices.
That is actually a very interesting point, because ONDC will not become just successful overnight, or the vendors will not be able to become successful on ONDC overnight. So there is a learning process, there is a learning curve, and it might take some time, but once they are there, then it may be very beneficial for them. So, Ashwini, were there any positive signs of readiness among vendors? Like, okay, they are ready to join such a network, and they are maybe excited even about it. Yeah.
So, as you said rightly that they are dependent for UPI on their family members or maybe on their peers. But we observe that around 90 to 95% of all street vendors that we have visited or interviewed are using UPI, and they are accepting payment, and they are very used to of process of UPI, and they find it very convincing and convenient as other option for cash. So that shows their readiness to adopt further extension, a platform like ONDC might be. Then second is we have opportunity of word of mouth in Bangalore marketplace, because the marketplace in Bangalore is very community driven. So if you focus on some converting some bunch of might street vendors of any of area of Bangalore, it will create a positive split over effect on other areas, the street vendors in other areas. So yes, there are positive these two positive signs that we have observed.
So, the uniformity of the onboarding process, which is there, it's a very standard process everywhere. So, is that point also helpful for them?
Yeah, so we also observe that the concerns that they have, general concerns or regional concerns, they are very similar along all five big markets that we have visited. So we can have a uniform onboarding process for everyone along whole Bangalore, we can say.
Got it. So, again talking about communities, so how did this community network encourage them to onboard on such kind of network, open network? Yeah.
Yeah, so in Bangalore, we saw that community influence the decision making highly. So as we visited 5 major markets, and we saw that mostly they have a community already there. There would be a market one representative or the local leader who will be representing whole market where the shop will be. So yeah, they do have a very high influence in decision making of all the street vendor there. So yeah, community does influence the decision making of that, and as we saw that one of the street vendor mentioned that if the other guy is using, then maybe we will think of using that particular application or the new method. So yes, community building will be very helpful here, and we does come up with some local ambassador kind of idea which can represent a particular market, and they can help to resolve various issues which street vendors are facing in particular. So yeah, community will be they can behave as kind of on ground support for which is representing a ONDC.
Okay, okay. So this is a very interesting idea about the ambassadorship, because then others have a person to lead them, and then they are more influenced to join the network. Okay. So Ashwini, were there any key recommendations you both could have come up with for improving the onboarding process in the future?
Yes, so after visiting all those five major markets and interviewing all those street vendors, we understood that we need to communicate clearly that how their data is going to use by the platform, and we have to make the user friendly interface so that they can simply onboard on the platform and they can use it in very smooth way. They need not to worry about how to use it or need not to dependent on other for using the app. Second thing is we need to train them for packaging or the delivery process, and third is like we have to also train them for, we have to increase their digital literacy, maybe by conducting some workshops. And fourth and most important thing is about geolocation. They have seasonality of their businesses and their geolocation is constantly changing. So we have to mainly focus on those things and update our app accordingly.
Okay. Was there any language-based issue also which could have been improved to bring everybody uniformly on board?
Yes, this is regional specific. It's not there in Delhi. So we found out in Bangalore there is more focus on regional local languages, and the street vendors are more prone to use their own language. So we need to modify our app accordingly, and we also have to train them in their language so that they don't hesitate to use the platform.
Yes, okay. And that would obviously be applicable to all other states. So the technology needs to be modified accordingly. Okay, great. So, Jayraj, what is the way forward for ONDC? What is the future vision of it, and any improvement challenges do you see down the line for ONDC?
So yes, for ONDC, the way forward would be, in simple term, I would say it should be a vendor-centric platform. So they need to, they need to provide a support, a continuous support for the street vendors, because there will be a new challenges coming as we move forward. So we need to come up with some new recommendation or new policies to solve those issues. For example, I just talked about GST compliance. So there should be some help to solve those issues. Apart from that, there should be a feedback loop from the street vendors, which will help the ONDC to improve their platform continuously. Majorly, if other help which we can the ONDC can come up with tie up with NGOs and local leaders, local trade unions, that can influence the street vendor decision and can influence the decision of onboarding them to ONDC platform. Apart from that, ONDC should also focus on multiple regional language on their platform. The app should be available in every language mostly. In India, major languages can be covered. So ultimately, the ONDC working on these major issues, it can provide a very strong platform for the street vendors to improve the Indian digital economy.
Okay. So I think both of you presented great points for ONDC as a enabling mechanism for all kind of businesses in India, and this project basically helps a lot for even the vendors to understand what you're talking about in the first place, what exactly is ONDC, because this is an open network, and okay, closed networks are already there, but what is the benefit, what are the challenges, and how they can progress their business through it is a very good, concept to talk about as of now. So thank you for joining in this podcast series, and we give you all the best for your future. Thanks a lot.